Welcome to the Jazz Cloud. I'm Richie Zellon, and today I have a great chord melody lesson I've prepared for you. Any of you remember that tune called Me and Mrs. Jones? We got a thing going on. Well, for those of you familiar with the Great American Songbook, you probably already know that Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart wrote a song about Mrs. Jones way back when she was simply Miss Jones. And it's a frequently played standard entitled, Have You Met Miss Jones? And let me tell you that the harmony on the bridge was way ahead of its time when it was written back in the 1930s. Some even claim it has a taste of giant steps, although Coltrane wasn't even around yet. So stick around. Welcome back to the Jazz Guitar channel, and if this is your first time and you want to learn everything you can about the art of playing jazz guitar, you've come to the right place. I bring you weekly lessons covering everything from bebop to post-bop to Brazilian jazz and much, much more, and all from a guitar perspective. So I'm not going to say much about this arrangement except that it has been transposed from the original version in F, a half step down to E in order to make better use of the available open strings. Let me play it, and after this, I'll break it down for you and explain what is going on so you can slowly learn it. I'm also going to suggest some simpler alternatives to each section for those of you that don't feel technically proficient to play some of the passages here. So here it goes. Before I start teaching you this arrangement, I want you to know that you have the option to download a special package from my website that will make it easier to study and learn. And this is available for a small contribution which helps support my efforts in preparing these lessons. The download includes a 4-page PDF with regular notation and tablature, an MP3 of the arrangement, a band-in-a-box file, and a MIDI file. And these last two allow you to slow down and loop the arrangement, that is if you have the software. And I will put a link in the info section down below for those interested. Next, I will teach you the arrangement in very slow 2 to 4 measure segments. As usual, I will place an index to the different sections of this lesson in the info section down below so that when you are studying, you can directly go to each teaching segment without having to scroll through the whole video. So as you see, I'm using a different guitar here as usual. This one has the dots, so it's easier for you to orient yourself as to where I am on the fretboard. And by the way, I hope you've downloaded this arrangement, the PDF. The PDF, by the way, has the full tablature on it, if you don't see it on the screen. And all the measures are numbered so you can easily follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, those first two measures, one thing to really be aware of is that when you change to the second measure, we have a tendency to want to go to this ring finger. At least I usually have that. And we got to go to this finger. Some nice voicings there with open strings. You can also simplify it. Just play the chords. It's the second measure, G sharp minor 7 with a 9, and the C sharp 7 altered. And that takes us to the third and fourth measures. Okay, pretty straightforward here, starting with the F sharp in the third measure, playing that root and sliding up to the G sharp minor. Here I'm just outlining the harmony for the A major 6 by playing the root, the first string, the fifth, and then the sixth. If you want to play the full chord, you can do. And then the B13 flat 9 in the bass. I play this B7 with an open B here, and also the B on the first string at the 7th fret, and then play the flat 9, but you can also play it like a sharp 5 chord and play that flatted 9 chord. And that takes us to the fifth and sixth measures. Here we have the C sharp 7 sus4 going to the D9, and we play the outer shell, then the inside, the two inside notes, and then to go to the D9, we play the fourth and first strings open, and then we play the inner voices, which takes us to the sixth measure, and this is a beautiful voicing, C sharp minor 9. The first two strings are open, and then for the C sharp 7, sharp 9, let me play. You can simplify that by playing so instead of doing the voicing here for the C sharp minor with the open strings, you can just play regular C sharp minor with the root on fifth. Still play this one here, which is pretty simple. 2 fingers, C sharp 7, sharp 9. And that takes us to the 7th and 8th measures, the first ending. And this is pretty simple. want to simplify that, just play in other words, a B7, sus4 with a 13 to a B7 sharp 5, or you want to call it a flat 13, and it goes back to the top, to the A section. So I'm not going to play that again. I'm just going to show you the second ending so we can move on. The second ending is an E7 sus9, again, now I know that in the previous clip when I played it at tempo for this first measure of the second ending for the E7 sus4, I know that I did something different. I just spontaneously heard something in my head and I went for it. And that's the way it is with jazz. So nothing is exactly as written. I do this to have something to start with, and I tried to play it as close as possible to what I wrote, but really, if I were to just play it on a gig, I would do a lot of it very differently, rhythmically speaking, and maybe throw in different notes and some other stuff that I hear in my head at the time. That's just the way it is. So I always say, use this for starters and try to make it your own, whatever feels natural for you. Okay? So we're ready to go to letter B. First two measures of letter B. So an alternative would be if you can't do the stretch, who knows? Also, if you're not comfortable doing the open strings on the first measure here with the A major 9, just this voicing here. Okay, and we're ready to move on to the F major 13. So that's F major down here, 2. Just putting our index over the F and the C on the first two strings. Then going to this F major, it's like an F major 6. And then just moving up to the E flat minor 7. But here we play the outer shell, that is the 5th and 2nd string, and then the 2 inner voices. Then we play an open A string with this F on the 2nd string. So and that's an A flat 13. The A is really representing the flat 9 in the chord. And then we're ready to move on to the D flat major 7, and we start. This is a very cool passage with voicings and fourths. It goes like this. major 7, then here we got this cluster here. We got the major 7, which I'm playing with my pinky, the root, and the 3rd. And this inversion here in 4ths. And going on to the C7 sus 13 to a regular 13, C13, flatted 13. So how can we make this simpler? Well, we go to the D flat major 7. Again, simpler version. Could do this to the C sus. Ready to go to that F major 7 sharp 5, which I love. Here's the tricky part. The chord is pretty simple to play, as you can see, but the trick is to play the 2 outer notes, the one with my pinky here, the F, and with my index on the 1st string, the A. So we first play that, then the ring finger, open string B, and then that C sharp. So we're playing a fragment of a scale there, but we're letting them ring. Playing the open E, moving, can move this here. That's a passage that is much easier to play on a guitar that has a wider nut, you know, where the strings are farther apart, like on the other one that I played. That's a good example of one. But, you know, for those of you who have smaller fingers, you'll be able to manage. Okay, so that covers the B section. The C section starts out just like the first 4 measures of the A section. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to play what I have here, which is different from what I played in the clip. In the clip, I went straight to the coda to end the tune. Here I have an ending, so you can go back and start it again. The first 2 measures are similar to what I'm going to play in the coda. But anyways, let's look at these last 4 measures of the C section. And this is like a G sharp minor 7 chord with an open B string. And what I'm doing is I'm strumming, bringing these 2 fingers down, leaving that open B ringing all the time. That's like a G sharp diminished. Doing the same thing here, a whole step down with an F sharp minor 7. So. And then I'm going to this G13 with a 9th. And that would take us back to the top. Okay, so let me play the coda. The first 2 measures of the coda are identical to what I just played, starting with that G sharp minor 7. So it's. But then it continues with this E major 9. Goes to this B flat major 9 with an open A in the bass. on this F sharp minor 7, 11. So slowing it down gradually, and this takes us to the last two measures. In here we play so basically the 7, 13, it's just like the beginning of the tune, and I'm reharmonizing it. This is like a C major 7 chord with an open E in the 6th string. I do the same thing, bringing this up a whole step, holding that E pedal, and then play these. You want to put this shape down. Only that you're playing the last 3 strings, the top strings first, and then adding the first 3 strings. So, what did you think? Will you be able to handle Miss Jones, or you rather stick with Mrs. Jones? They say Mrs. Jones is wiser and more experienced. I wouldn't know. As usual, I'd love to hear your comments and welcome any questions you may have. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and don't forget to click on the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of my upcoming lessons. So have fun, and I'll see you in the next video.